So we had an extra day to prepare this week, and so I took the time to look back at our first 7 games, and I think we've done some nice things. We've made some good plays, but overall, we're not playing at the level that we need to play at to help our team in terms of field position. And we really need to play a more complete game, complementary football-wise, and in order to help our team, and that needs to happen on Monday night against Cincinnati. So that's been our sole focus all week.
What happened on the punt return breakdown last week?
Yeah. So the left guard and left tackle lost leverage. We kicked it right. They thought we were kicking it left because it was on the left hash, and Corey did a nice job of getting it over on the right numbers, and we just lost leverage. And it's something we preach all the time. In fact, I was so shocked that play, not that that Devin couldn't do that because he's a great returner, but that we lost leverage like that. I think it's been 5, maybe 6 years since a team that I've coached has given up a return that long, and it's a long time, and there's no excuse for that. We just lost leverage, and that can't happen again, ever.
To the right side?
He did on purpose. Yeah, we wanted to kick it right there.
Gotcha, because they showed on TV him being handed a tablet because he was kind of confused, as like you were, as to exactly what the
yeah, I mean,
was.
well, once I saw where our guard and tackle were, I knew exactly what happened. And then Dearness did a good job of setting the edge. Charlie actually did a really nice job of slowing him down. He needs to be over the ball. And then Dearness just missed the tackle. He was in position. And then Taki does an unbelievable job. He saves a touchdown. I'd call that a 4-point tackle because our defense did a great job and forced the field goal. So.
The false start and everything that supposedly happened on that, and then the ensuing block.
So what happened, we didn't do anything, we don't do that. We're not going to try and draw people off sides. Even if we had that in our game plan, we certainly wouldn't do it in that situation. I know Coach Stefanski talked about the risk reward there. It's ridiculous. We never would have done that. So when they moved, our left end moved, and he was not an adjacent lineman. And when that happens, it's on us. So I think that they called the wrong number, but I think that's what they saw, the officials. So you can't argue that. It happened just before they made contact. Their whole left side of their defensive line, or at least 2 of them moved and hit our guys, but we had moved on our left side, which was not an adjacent lineman. So that was the mistake that we made. So that cost us the 5 yards there.
Also off that, Mike, that Charlie or Corey was a yard up, it seemed, and then Coach said that Coach Stefanski mentioned there was just miscommunication on that.
No, maybe, but I mean there was communication between them. They were on the same page. I think we're probably about a foot. I thought initially, because I saw it happening, and I thought it was going to be a yard. It was more like a foot because Charlie actually moved the ball up a couple feet, so we're probably about a foot off there. I honestly don't think that had anything to do with the kick because of where it hit Harrison. I mean, what a great play that kid made because he's at the line of scrimmage. Our protection was phenomenal on that play. Coming off the edge, Taven Bryan came off. That was his second. That Sunday was his first game ever playing at wing on field goal, and we started training him back in the summer. So he's had a ton of reps. But first time in the game, he went out there and did a great job because we had a couple injuries. And inside, we did a great job. He actually jumped up at the line of scrimmage. So there's nothing you can do about that. He didn't get any closer than he would have been. It's just a great play by him.
Are there any big changes that any kicker, not even Cade, that would make from a longer field? Is it ball position? Is it steps? Is there any big change going for a longer field goal versus shorter?
No, a good question. Most kickers are going to have to drive it a little bit lower, which he did. It wasn't that windy, but you still going to have to drive it. And then you tilt the ball a little bit forward, the holder. That's typically what most kickers do. I don't know about all of them, but a lot of guys will tilt it forward a little bit so you can get that drive. And because of that, it was just a tad bit lower than it would be. I thought he hit it great. It was a great hit, great protection, great hit, and a phenomenal play by Harrison.
Mike, back to that false start. Did Charlie move the ball? It looked like Charlie moved the ball to some degree, which is why the Ravens.
He didn't do anything that he normally doesn't do.
I mean,
if you watch all his, and I went back and just to check and double check, he looked back. Cade wasn't ready yet, so he took his one hand, wiped off his left hand, put his head up, and he puts his head down. And he wasn't trying to draw anybody off sides. It's his normal routine prior to snapping the ball.
So, saying that, should it not have been called?
No, they moved, and before they hit our guys, the non-adjacent lineman moved. And now our adjacent lineman is allowed to move. So when we moved on the right side, we were good. But because we moved on the left side, one guy moved slightly, and that's what they saw.
So did you see that on your own, or did you talk to the league about that, or just wondered?
I saw it when I saw the tape. I didn't see it live. I saw their guys, and I thought it should have been on them. But then when you look back at the tape, and then I know Coach talked to the league office, and that's what they explained to us.
Is there a gray area there, though, Mike, where he Like he kind of flexes the ball a little bit, and there's a little bit of a rock to it. I mean, is that?
I think all snappers have some sort of routine with long and short snaps.
But he's allowed to move the ball a little bit, right?
Oh,
It just
sure.
can't leave the ground. It can be.
Right. He didn't do anything out of his normal routine.
You know, the decision to move the ball up on the hold for Cade's kick, is that something that Cade and Corey like talk about and kind of make that
Oh,
split
we
second
do it all the
decision?
time. We do it all the time. In fact, when I give them situational kicks, we did it yesterday on our own. We'll do it tomorrow when we kick field goals again. So, you know, we'll put the ball right in the middle of the hash and then let Charlie communicate to Corey where the ball is going to be, because we always want to hold it on a hash unless it's a PAT or a middle of the field, right on the edge, you know what I mean, the corner of the hash mark. So for a reference point for the holder and the kicker. And 99 times out of 100 when we do that, Charlie's going to put laces perfect. So that's what we're looking for there.
In the heat of the moment when they call that false start, though, is there any reaction, anything printable?
No, I think, you know, move back 5 yards. Let's keep our cool. Let's go get a 60-yarder because we have the kicker that can make that kick.
And you're trying to figure out who's going to be able to step up for you. Is there a thought to maybe be a little bit more conservative until you have that, or do game settings give you that ability to really test guys out and see what you've got?
Yeah, I think the testing probably happens in practice, but I mean that's a great question because you have to determine whether or not, you know, is this the type of punter we can go after, or is this a guy that he's got great get off? Do we have more of a return look? Do we double vice when it's 4th and long? And a lot of those factors come into play when you game plan during the week. And you know, we went against Jordan, who's a really good young punter. We thought we would pressure him a little bit. We didn't get a ton of opportunities to do that, but he actually punted the ball really well. The one he hit over Donovan's head, Donovan did a great job getting there. We just got to get the ball upfield and get 10, 15 yards rather than go sideways, and that's been the big emphasis this week. But, you know, I thought Donovan did a good job of fielding those long, low kicks.
Corey made a good play on that grounder that Charlie sent.
Wow.
And what happened there? He just slipped out of his hands coming off?
He really I said, I've never seen you do that before. He goes, I've never done that before. And that was the extent of the conversation. I don't want to, we kind of briefly talked about it on the airplane, you know, before we took off, and I just kind of mentioned it to him, and he saw it on the iPad, and we watched it Monday morning on the bigger screen, and he just, you know, I don't think he really wants to emphasize what happens. Don't even think about it and move on. But I will give Corey a lot of credit, and I'll give Kate a lot of credit, because that's, you guys see us on the low jugs constantly, you know, 2-3 days a week now, and during the training camp was every single day, almost to a point where Corey's driving him crazy doing it, but that's why we do it. And Corey was prepared. I know the knock on him was he was not a great holder coming here. I think he's a great athlete, and he did a phenomenal job on that play. And Cade did a good job because the get-off was only 1-4. You expect that to be a 1-5, 1-5-5 get-off where they could block it off the edge. And, you know, Cade stuck with it and put it through. It was a great play, obviously a huge play to keep the game at 3 points.
Mike, when you haven't had a lot of success in the return game, let's say kickoff, why bring it out from anywhere when that also leaves you susceptible to...
You sound like everybody else in our building.
A holding penalty?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, we got to be smarter there. And that's not Dearness' fault. That's me. I was trying to be aggressive. We felt like we had a really good scheme for what they do. I still do. I still thought it was a good scheme. And we were really close from popping that thing. And the holding call was a good call. I think we got tripped up, and he pulled the guy down with him, which you can never do. And so, but you're right, 5 deep in that situation. You know me, I'm pretty aggressive. So.
These issues this late in the season, have you guys worked more or done anything?
What issues?
Just special teams in general, just have, you know, it seems like every week something pops up.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
have you guys done anything differently?
I'm always trying to be creative. I always try to figure out different ways to reach guys. I firmly believe in what we do here is the right way to do it. I firmly believe in the ability that we have coaching and what we're and our schemes and the fundamentals we're teaching these guys on a day in and day out basis. And you know, I think we just got to stay the course, put the nose to the grindstone, and I'm not one to panic ever. I think we are, like I started my intro, I think we're doing some good things. We just need to do them more consistently, and we need to eliminate some of those errors that you're talking about.
What do you notice the difference in this year from last year's rookie year?
Well, I mean, down the stretch, he was amazing, and he's still hitting the ball great. You know, I think he had the one bad game when they had the snapper issues, and other than that, he's kicked the ball really well. He's a really good young kicker.
Are you noticing a difference in range, or, I mean, was his range so good last year?
I think his range was pretty good last year. He's hit some deep ones this year. You're right about that. Probably more so than they probably had him. I don't remember what they kicked early in the season last year. but they've kicked more deeper kicks this year, and because they have a lot of confidence in them.
When you talk about this stuff at the beginning, how it's got to be complementary,
Mm-hmm.
does it make it more disappointing that I guess the whole team needs help from every area, right? Because you're playing all these close games.
Oh, yeah.
So for special teams not to kind of give that boost, does that make it even more disappointing for you?
Absolutely. Of course it does. I mean, I'm used to having special teams play at a high level. I have my whole career, and I know we all have ups and downs as coaches, but I expect our guys to play at a high level, and when we don't help our team win, even when we win games, you're happy you won, but you're like, man, I wish we would have done this, that, or the other to help our team. But especially when you do lose close games, you're thinking, man, we could have done this, we could have done that, and you know, we're still going through that. We're still fighting through it, but you know, we plan on coaching hard, playing hard, and getting after the guy, Cincinnati on Monday night, because that's the goal. We got to go get a win.